With your time with like the cats or the goat, what does that teach you about their abilities?
I know people deny that they have emotions and stuff, but I mean, anyone who's ever been with one knows that they kind of have personalities and stuff like
Right.
that.
So you think it's kind of a misconception that they might not feel?
I think it's an intentional misconception. So
It's
as
an
to make it
intentional one.
so that you don't feel
Why
as
do you-
bad when you kill one or whatever.
Oh, wow. That's profound.
You have time for a quick conversation?
Have a few minutes?
Live on YouTube. You're okay
We're
with that?
talking about animals. Yeah? You want to hop in right here? You can kind of see yourself in frame so we can orient. You want, maybe a little bit closer. I'll back up so we're not like right on top of each other. All right.
this?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay,
So the first question is, how do you feel about animals?
I don't know how I feel. I guess it depends on which animals. Humans, like canines, primates, like what.
Oh, but you would consider humans animals.
Of course they are.
Right. There's some people we talk to who are confused about that. That's interesting. Okay.
Probably not very educated.
Right. We're just another mammal, right? So how about companion animals? Do you have any companions at home, like dogs or cats?
No?
No? Have you spent much time around them ever in your life, dogs or cats?
I do like cats a lot. I used to have sort of a pet goat.
Oh, okay. With your time with like the cats or the goat, what does that teach you about their abilities?
I know people deny that they have emotions and stuff, but I mean, anyone who's ever been with one knows that they kind of have personalities and stuff like
Right.
that.
So you think it's kind of a misconception that they might not feel?
I think it's an intentional misconception. So
It's
as
an
to make
intentional
it
one.
so that you don't feel
Why
as
do you-
bad when you kill one or whatever.
Oh, wow. That's profound. Do you think there's anything we need from animals in 2026 as humans?
I mean, the meat, right? Like we eat the protein and stuff, and then I imagine there's protein, their byproducts, stuff like that. So
I wonder if you found out, maybe you went home and it flashed across the news headlines, you were looking at it and it said, the human body can thrive and get all the protein it needs just consuming plants. If you found that out, would it be unnecessary from that point to use animals, do you think?
I mean, anything, like I personally do low-key want to switch to being vegan when I get older. I try to be vegan, but I just need to maintain gains, and it's really hard to like stay, very physically fit.
I hear you, yeah. If you found out that there was a way for you personally to like still do bodybuilding, or I'm not sure exactly what you're into, whether it's athletics, if you found out that there were vegan athletes, vegan bodybuilders, vegan Olympic athletes, and you knew that that was an option for you, would it be something that you would be interested in?
Without being super intensive?
Right.
Sure, yeah, I would be interested probably.
Right. Do you think it would be fair to kill another pig if you didn't need to?
No, of course not.
Right. Well, you're easy to talk to. A lot of people argue these points a lot, so you're a breath of fresh air with your open-mindedness. So you talked about veganism. You mentioned it. I wonder, because there's all these misconceptions. What do you define it as, or what would you say veganism is?
So I feel like just so long as you're not killing another living being, like I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, for instance, when I was in France, when I lived in France, I volunteered at this farm where they took like donkey feces and they used it to like coat trees as like kind of a a sustainable method of dealing with like certain types of insects that would burrow into the trees. So I think sharing and caring, and using their byproducts is fine. I would think
Like using their poop and taking care of them.
That's fine.
It doesn't really hurt them
So
or
not
take
a-
anything from them.
Exactly,
meaningful.
but like when you're like killing something to eat it is, we kill and eat people. I mean, it's kind of like this is another living thing you're killing, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I imagine
I
God
hear
is
you.
merciful, but like it's still just kind of like, yeah, I would definitely not want to do it if I had the option.
I wonder, so you're thinking about the protein and the health aspect, but are there any like ethical or philosophical objections that you have to veganism? Like, is there any ideas or arguments that you have in your head where you're like, that kind of makes me not want to go vegan, or that, I think that's a good argument against veganism? Do you have any of those?
I think a lot of people say that like when you go to a strictly vegan diet that you end up like, for instance, like, I don't know, like the environment, like, because you have to like plant a bunch of things, and like soy is not very good for the environment to be like constantly grown, and so there's like pros and cons to it. Also hormonal issues from it. So
I wonder, like, have you considered what all the animals that humans eat, have you considered what they're eating before? Like all of the animals that humans consume, have you considered what they consume?
I guess it depends on the animal. Yes, I have. I lived on a farm for a bit.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I have, but
Like they eat a lot of plants is my point. So there's actually been a
Some of them
study
don't.
conducted. Some of them don't
like
eat a lot of
pigs
plants?
don't. Pigs don't, for instance. So
But in general, if we think about the big picture of the animal system, we could reduce the amount of plants that we're growing because of the immense amount of crops like corn and soy that are fed to cattle and chickens and,
Good point.
and so forth. So if the environment is a concern, we can actually free up space if everybody switched to a plant-based diet, because there would be less plants to feed the humans directly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not very nuanced on this. I imagine it's a pretty deep conversation that we have to is pretty. I for one do consider animals as having personalities and
Right.
Their
Me
own
too.
things, and so I don't just eat meat. I'm not going to Tyson Farms where they're putting them in these sheds and stuff. I try to make sure it's from farmers who take care of
Right.
them
And those animals, they
Yeah.
certainly live a lot better lives, and
Yeah.
I agree with you. But we kind of touched on, if it's unnecessary, do you think it's good to kill an animal even if they're in better conditions and they're a lot happier? Do you think it becomes fair to kill them if we don't need to?
No, if we
Yeah.
didn't need to, and there
Right.
wasn't the fact that we live in a world where scarcity guides everything, where we kind of need to strive for our own stuff, I would definitely not eat meat in that world.
Okay. Well, you seem really open-minded. I'd love to connect you with a couple resources that get at that question of, do we need to? That get at that question of, could you, if you wanted, get all the protein and all the nutrients that you needed from plants? Because it seems like it's in line with your principles.
Okay.
Would you say that?
Sure.
Okay. I'll give you this card. And, well, actually, this is the resource, I'll be right back, that I want to give you. It's called The Compassionate Athlete, and it'll give you some of those health-related resources. And I also, if you would take this card as well, I would love to give this to you, because on this side, there's a QR code that you can scan to get to the documentary, but it also just says it here if you want to look it up on YouTube, it's free. It's called Dominion, and it just shows what's happening in those slaughterhouses, and it just makes it more clear to us.
I know how fucked up they are in the
Right.
That's why I go to personal farmers, like the ones who are doing it themselves.
Well, but those animals go to the slaughterhouse too, right?
No, some of them slaughter them themselves. There's a small farmer in McMinnville, and they slaughter themselves.
Do you think it's more fair if
I
they're
don't know.
slaughtered?
It's
Look-
still messed
yeah.
up. If I was hungry, I would rather kill myself than eat a man. But I know that people would be like, no, it's justified in that case. I'm
Right.
not down for that.
Right.
But I don't know. I think in a world like this, kind of like how we live in a capitalistic society that's based off of scarcity.
Yeah.
There are pros and cons to everything,
Right.
I imagine there's some grand fairness at the end. So.
Would you consider, but before you leave, last question, would you consider watching that documentary that shows the slaughterhouses so that you could be an informed consumer and make that decision next time you're at the grocery store? Do I want to contribute to this, or do I want to make a more compassionate choice for the animals? Would you consider watching it?
I'll try to watch it.
Okay. Well, thank you. I
Have a good
appreciate
day.
your time.
Stay safe.
Yes, you too. Have a great day.